Have you ever thought about an artist whose impact was just, well, truly global?
Mm.
Someone whose life, with all its incredible highs and frankly bewildering lows, didn't just change music and dance.
But also reshaped business, how we see things visually, even international relations.
Exactly. It's a rare thing. So today, we're doing a deep dive into exactly that kind of phenomenon.
It really is rare for one person to go so far beyond their craft, isn't it? To actually change the societal landscape itself. That's what we're digging into here.
Right. Welcome to the deep dive. Our mission today is to get past the usual headlines, and really unpack the incredible cultural impact of Michael Jackson. We've gathered a whole range of sources, historical accounts, academic papers, personal stories, even financial records.
Yeah, the goal is to understand how this one artist managed to redefine so much music, visual culture, global connections, even surprisingly academic study.
We'll look at the sheer breadth of it all, his artistry, which was just revolutionary, his global reach, which was frankly astonishing.
hmm And also the really complex, sometimes difficult parts of his personal life, and importantly, his financial legacy, which is still unfolding in surprising ways.
So let's start at the beginning.
Yeah.
Because Michael Jackson wasn't just some pop star who appeared overnight. He was this prodigy from such a young age.
A force of nature, really.
Yeah, he quickly became the main draw, the lead singer of the Jackson Five. They were performing on the Chitlin circuit, which was crucial for black artists back then, and places like the legendary Apollo Theater.
And that early experience was so important. He went from child star to, well, a genuine teen idol, right? He put out 4 solo albums with Motown.
Mm-hmm.
But things really started shifting when he moved to New York for The Wiz. That's where he got exposed to early hip-hop.
Ah, interesting.
Yeah, and you can sort of hear hints of that influence later on, even in his beatboxing.
Okay, so then came the big turning point. Off the Wall kind of laid the groundwork.
Right.
But Thriller, that was the explosion. Jay Cox, writing for Time magazine, called Thriller a thorough restoration of confidence, a rejuvenation.
He even called Jackson a one-man rescue team for the music business, which is quite a statement.
It really is.
And it wasn't just about selling records, It gives you this insight into how one piece of art can hit at just the right moment and actually reshape, well, the economics of an industry, break down social barriers.
Yeah, because it changed the direction of pop, but critically, it brought black music back to mainstream American radio.
Exactly. After all that restrictive special format programming, which basically segregated the airwaves, Thriller helped dismantle that.
So it made him the world's biggest star, obviously.
Undeniably. And it became a blueprint for record companies who were struggling after the downturn in the late 70s. Over 70 million copies sold. It's in the National Recording Registry now for its, quote, stratospheric national and international success.
It really makes you pause, doesn't it? How many artists can you say truly reinvented an industry or broke down major barriers with just one album?
Very few.
Yeah.
It points to this kind of perfect storm, maybe. Unbelievable artistic innovation hitting a specific cultural moment. It created this model for how music could be this global economic force, crossing all kinds of lines.
And his influence went way beyond just the sound, didn't it?
Oh, absolutely. His genius wasn't just auditory. It just exploded into visual culture. He really was an architect of modern pop in that sense.
Which brings us to his dancing. Revolutionary stuff. He didn't just perform dances, he popularized street styles like popping, locking.
Okay, Jurassic.
Yeah, but then the moonwalk, which he actually named himself.
Right, and the first time most people saw it was Billie Jean at that Motown 25 special in '83. Huge audience, about 50 million people watching.
Incredible.
And Rolling Stone basically said that single performance set in motion all the forces that would go on to shape the popular culture of the 1980s.
Wow.
It really pioneered that idea of concerts recreating the music video. The visuals became almost more important than the live singing sometimes.
And his voice was just as unique. So expressive, perfect pitch apparently, really theatrical, with all those signature things, staccato, falsetto, the hiccups, the ad-libs, the growls.
Even sounds that weren't really words, like Shimon.
Exactly. And he won Grammys for pop, rock, and R&B vocals as a solo artist. That's pretty rare, isn't it?
Very rare. And then the videos. Groundbreaking doesn't even cover it. Thriller, the 14-minute version.
Yeah.
Guinness World Records called it the most successful music video ever. It defined the medium, really, and it forced MTV to play more black artists. That was huge.
A genuine barrier breaker.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And later, black or white, 500 million people watched its premiere globally.
Yeah.
Unprecedented.
It feels like so much of what we see in music performance today, the big concert visuals, the viral dances, you can trace a line back to him. The scope of that influence is just huge.
It really is. And it wasn't just wide. It was deep and truly global.
That's a key point, I think. It's easy to forget just how global. We're talking about an artist whose influence went beyond music, beyond culture, even crossing political divides. A true phenomenon.
Let's look at some examples. Think about Germany in 1988, Berlin, the Bad Tour.
Okay, the city's still divided by the wall then.
Exactly. And you had fans in East Berlin trying to climb things, straining to hear the concert happening on the other side. The Stasi, the East German secret police, actually considered his visit a possible perceived threat.
A threat? Seriously?
Yeah, they were worried he might inspire rebellion or something. They even considered putting the broadcast on a 2-minute delay so they could censor him if needed.
That's incredible.
And Jackson himself apparently pointed towards the wall during the show and said, "This is for all the fans over there in East Berlin."
Wow. Okay, what about elsewhere?
Romania, 1992. His Dangerous World Tour visit was treated almost like a state visit. He met President Eescud,
Yeah.
visited orphanages. All the concert money went to help, I think, 50,000 orphans. There was mass hysteria. Young fans were actually protesting that he should get the Nobel Peace Prize.
Goodness.
Right.
In places maybe less expected.
Well, Saudi Arabia, even within quite conservative families, his music got through. Teenagers were smuggling cassette tapes, hiding them in plain covers.
Really?
Yeah. Songs like Bad, Beat It, they were copying them, singing them, apparently even dubbing them into Arabic sometimes. For a generation growing up amid conflict, he became this symbol of America, maybe, as a land of opportunity.
Fascinating. Poland, too.
Poland in 1996. Huge concert, over 120,000 people at BMO Airport. He was welcomed by kids in traditional clothes, met the president. He apparently even thought about buying a castle there, opening an amusement park.
We had big plans.
Yeah.
And Russia, or the Soviet Union back then.
Well, yeah, remember, Western music was basically banned in the Soviet Union not long before it collapsed. One Soviet publication, Sovetskaya Kultura, actually denounced Thriller.
Denounced it.
Wait, accused Jackson of, like, mesmerizing Americans to distract them from politics. Kind of funny in hindsight.
Yeah.
But then, his Pepsi ads in 1984 were the first American commercials shown on Soviet TV, reached 150 million people.
Wow. Pepsi got him there first.
Seems so. And his 1993 Moscow concert was wild, too. It happened right before a major political crisis, the constitutional crisis. Police escorts, confusion over tickets, even bomb threats, apparently.
It just paints this picture of an artist whose impact was so much more than just entertainment, doesn't it? What do all these stories tell us? How did he connect with so many different people across such huge divides?
I think what comes through is that Michael Jackson became this kind of universal symbol, maybe not even intentionally all the time. His music, his image, they carry these themes: unity, freedom, breaking barriers that just resonated powerfully everywhere. In places dealing with political division or economic struggles or social restrictions, he offered this sort of common language, almost outside of politics, a language of joy, of possibility.
Yeah.
That made him this cultural force that could spark, well, collective feeling, even maybe subtle forms of defiance.
That makes sense. A powerful symbol. But of course, with that level of fame, there was a dark side, a price. His public image got incredibly complicated.
Oh, absolutely. His
Yeah.
personal quirks, his changing appearance, it all became fuel for the tabloids, didn't it? Leading to that awful nickname, Wacko Jocko.
Yeah, that nickname really stuck and shaped perception. What do you think drove that relentless media focus? Was it just the physical changes or something deeper?
It was probably a mix of things. His skin did get progressively lighter, and we know now that was due to vitiligo, which he was diagnosed with in '86.
Right?
And also discoid lupus, which can cause skin lesions and discoloration too. So he used makeup, possibly those skin bleaching creams under prescription, to try and even out the blotches.
And the nose surgeries.
Yes, multiple rhinoplasties as well. So these very visible changes, combined with a lifestyle that seemed increasingly unusual to the public, it created a narrative the tabloids just ran with.
Feeding a public hunger for spectacle, maybe?
Perhaps. Or maybe finding some weird comfort in seeing someone so famous seem to struggle or seem strange.
And then, of course, the huge shadow of the child abuse allegations. The first accusations in 1993 ended with a civil settlement.
Correct. And then the much bigger trial in 2005, where he was ultimately acquitted on all counts.
Tell us a bit more about that 2005 trial. What was the key aspect there?
Well, the defense strategy really focused on the credibility of the accusers. They pointed out inconsistencies, Jurors later said they found the prosecution's timeline confusing the alleged abuse happening after that controversial documentary aired when Jackson was under intense scrutiny.
That timing seems difficult.
Right. And jurors described the mother's testimony as rambling and combative. Crucially, there was testimony that the main accuser, Gavin Arvizo, had admitted lying under oath in a previous case. And his mother, Star Arvizo, had apparently admitted something similar regarding a magazine. So the defense built this picture of a family motivated by money. And the jury ultimately agreed, or at least had reasonable doubt.
Beyond the legal nightmare, there were also the financial problems that became public. Debt reaching nearly $500 million by his death, Neverland almost foreclosed on. It's hard to grasp the sheer pressure.
It must have been immense. You have the legal battles, the financial strain, and this constant public perception of strangeness fueled by stories, true or not, about wanting the Elephant Man's bones or taking Bubbles the chimp everywhere.
Right.
And some sources speculate his use of propofol. The drug that ultimately killed him might have started way back during the history tour, maybe as a way to cope after those first allegations surfaced.
So just this crushing weight.
It seems so. The weight of being possibly the most famous person on the planet, under constant siege. It takes a toll.
Yet, and this is the striking thing, even amidst all that personal turmoil and intense scrutiny, he was also building this incredible business empire. And he had this deep philanthropic side.
That duality is one of the most fascinating aspects, isn't it? He wasn't just selling records, he was incredibly sharp when it came to business deals. He negotiated what was then the highest royalty rate in the industry, 37% of the wholesale profit on albums.
That's huge.
It was. And those Pepsi deals, starting at $5 million, going up to $10 million, record-breaking stuff, even after that awful accident where his hair caught fire during filming.
Yeah, I remember that.
He donated the settlement money to help establish a burn center.
And the story about the ATV music catalog, buying the Beatles' publishing rights.
Right. In 1985, for about $47.5 million, apparently Paul McCartney himself had explained the value of owning publishing to him. Talk about learning quickly.
He clearly listened.
And that business acumen, that financial power, it continues even now after his death. Just this year, 2024, Sony bought half of his publishing and masters for a reported $600 million.
$600 million for half.
Yep. Possibly the biggest deal ever for a single musician's catalog. And his estate has already pulled in, what, $2 billion? From the Broadway show, the This Is It movie, those two Cirque du Soleil shows.
It's staggering. And then the generosity alongside it. That's a duality you mentioned. Guinness World Records said he supported 39 charities.
More than any other entertainer they'd tracked at the time. He gave away the profits from Man in the Mirror, organized benefit concerts for refugees, for children. He got a humanitarian award where he cited Gandhi as an inspiration. He even talked about wanting to build a children's hospital.
It really forces you to hold these two conflicting images in mind, doesn't it? The immense struggles and the monumental success and generosity.
It absolutely does. It shows how complex people are, maybe. That deep personal challenges don't necessarily cancel out the capacity for huge positive impact.
So as we bring this deep dive towards a close, let's think about the legacy, that undeniable, lasting influence. How is it still felt today?
Well, you just have to listen to other artists. The list is endless. Jason Derulo saying flat out, he is the reason I am who I am today.
Oh.
Kevin Parker from Tame Impala calling him one of my favorite artists, maybe even his absolute favorite. Lenny Kravitz talking about how monumental the Jackson 5 were for him, musically and personally.
Beyoncé, Bruno Mars.
Yep, Beyoncé calls him her biggest musical influence. Bruno Mars, clearly inspired. Even someone like Imogen Heap noted really specific things, like how he used his breaths as part of the sound and his made-up words, like Shimon.
But it goes beyond music, even into academia, which is wild.
It is. Librarians at Texas Tech found references to him in journals for psychology, medicine, chemistry, communications, even engineering.
Engineering, how?
I know. And universities offer courses on him, reading Michael Jackson at American University, The Business of Music, using him as a case study at Clark Atlanta, even one on the kinesiology of Michael Jackson's gravitational tilt. You know, that crazy lean he did.
They teach the physics of the lean.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And think about visual art. The National Portrait Gallery in London called him the most depicted cultural figure in visual art. Curators there actually said his influence on art rivals that of Jesus Christ.
That's a heck of a comparison.
It is. And some academic studies looking at influence across history have placed him up there with figures like Napoleon or, again, Jesus Christ. That's not just hyperbole. It suggests how modern cultural figures can achieve this kind of omnipresence, this influence that used to belong only to religious or political leaders. It blurs those lines between art, fame, and ideology.
That's a really profound way to put it, which leads to the question, in our current world, with media so fragmented, tastes so diverse, could we ever see one individual achieve that kind of universal cultural presence again?
That's the big question, isn't it? Hard to say.
So we've taken this journey through Michael Jackson's legacy, from the musical breakthroughs and the global impact to the really tough personal complexities and the surprising afterlife in business, philanthropy, even academia. He wasn't just a singer or dancer.
No, he was a genuine phenomenon, someone who touched pretty much every corner of the globe and fundamentally changed entertainment and the nature of celebrity itself.
So the final thought for you, listening. What does all this mean? If one person could spark such intense change, such fascination, both good and bad, what does that reveal?
Maybe it tells us something about the sheer power of art, of charisma, about our human need for connection, even when we're watching someone under the most intense spotlight imaginable.
Perhaps his real legacy isn't just the songs or the dance moves, but the questions his extraordinary, complicated life still makes us ask. Questions about genius, about fame, and maybe about ourselves and society.